time you found yourself lost in the middle of a hectic day, amidst all the chaos, the impending deadlines, the stomping of feet around you, and all you could hear was a faint sound in your head screaming for help? Well, we have all been in this situation at some point in our lives. Perhaps some of you are in that phase right now as I speak. Well, I cannot guarantee what I am about to say will resolve your issue, but it might just help lift your spirits a bit. If you are a tad bit familiar with the lifestyle of an architecture student, you wouldn't be surprised to know that this state of mind inevitably falls into the nature of the study. Whether you jump into it blindfolded or with an intensive research, it is a gamble that could go either way. The only certainty one can be assured of is to expect surprises along the way. As for me, I am currently in the last leg of this expedition, and trust me, you would believe it is one if you were to sail through it. But that is not what I am going to talk about today. Describing architecture school would be a never-ending conversation, so let's save that for another time. When I had decided to embark on this journey, it was not because I loved buildings or had a burning desire to create them. To be completely honest, at that time it was a decision my mother had made because I was not sure of what to take up. I was fairly decent at art, and she was certain that I would not do well at a course that would have required me to mug up tons of facts and figures. Architecture, being more hands-on, felt like an appropriate choice. Little did I know I was going to be in for a turbulent ride. The long working hours, unending submissions, critical reviews, and my deadly habit of procrastination made it a rough sail, enough to even make me cry sometimes. The first year, however, flew by, and by the time it was the end of the second year, I was almost certain that I did not want to have to do anything with this field ever again. I had come to hate drafting, a skill that is paramount to any architecture student. The option of dropping out after finishing 2 long years seemed less likely, more so because I was still not sure of what would stimulate me. You know those people who have a strong passion to pursue a particular career and know what to chase? Well, I wasn't one of them. Somehow, I pulled through the third year, and thanks to the comforting bond that my friends and I had developed, it did not seem like a burden. In fact, all the traveling we did under the pretext of study added some excitement in our lives. Now, you must be wondering, what's the catch here? Am I going to bore you with an unending rant about how I still don't know what to do with my life? It's kind of true, but well, no. As I approached the 4th year of school, it was time for a compulsory internship prescribed in our curriculum. The logic being that it would enable us to gain experience and insight in the real-time practice. Needless to say, I had dreaded this semester right from the time I had heard about it. As if college wasn't enough to jeopardize the peace in our lives. You see, the benefit about the curriculum in college is that it gives you the flexibility to experiment and allows you to cherish the domain of design without having to worry about any pragmatic, legal, or monetary limitations. You get to work in an environment of comfort, fortified by your peers, and are allowed to make as many mistakes without having to bear any real-life consequences. Although the scope of experimentation and technological advancement when it comes to architectural education in our country is still limited, given the constraints that come with practicing in a country with a population as large as ours and scarcely available land, the liberty that one gets in college is incomparable to what one would find on the outside. In India, in fact, the value of well-designed spaces is one of the last priorities acknowledged by the common man, let alone the state, therefore making it even harder to bring your efforts to fruition. Clouded with these preconceived notions, I was sure that if I did not enjoy college in the first place, I was bound to hate the mundane office life that I would be compelled to follow and all the instructions that would come with it. Most of us have this prejudiced notion that life in the industry is mundane, tiring, and real life business can be more frustrating than exhilarating. With the stretched out timelines, using your creative artistic brain becomes more of a once in a blue moon episode. This is a survey from my own class. You see what I am talking about? In fact, most people enjoy their education, but when they step out in the real world, they slowly start to lose interest in their jobs. Enough reasons to make me run as far away as possible. There was no way to escape the internship. The least I had under my locus of control was to choose a place that would align with whatever crumbs of interest that were left in this sphere. Luckily, I was accepted, but the thought of working in a professional environment, knowing that I might hate what I would be given to do, still bothered me quite a bit. However, contrary to what I had expected, the experience that I have had in the last 6 months has drastically changed my outlook. Yes, I will not deny that many of my fears did come true, but when you see a drawing come to life, add value to a certain event or space, have a larger impact on society, it gives you a completely different adrenaline rush. The significant role the tiniest of details play in the larger process of designing in the real scale in real time is absolutely fascinating. I was fortunate enough to have executed such work under the guidance of mentors who made me realize the importance of perseverance and the responsibility we share in shaping our built fabric. The built environment holds unlimited potential to express the ideals and behavioral patterns of any society. Therefore, it is critical that we tread carefully while dealing with the tangible built in order to preserve or reimagine our intangible heritage. After all, isn't that what defines us as a civilization? When something you do matters to such a large audience, you can seldom leave room for error. In fact, operating at the office pushed me to work harder so I could make the best of whatever little impact I was able to create. To add to this, collaborating with people across varied age groups was enriching beyond my biased presumptions and broke the bubble that college had created for me. By the bubble, I mean the part where you are so busy catching up with submissions, life beyond college and the people you interact with out there does not exist. When I began pondering on the idea of blind spots, that is when it struck me that I had drawn up a wall for myself that I wasn't willing to look past and would have easily settled for what my conscience was asking me to do. Give up and look for something else I would find joy in. I had succumbed to all the negativity that I chose to consume without realizing the fact that I still had the potential to play on my strengths and find a way to dig deeper for an area of expertise I could resonate with. To find a reason that would help me engage with my community. Not for a second did I try to break a hole in that wall and peep into the idea that I could probably enjoy a part of architecture after stepping out of college. This very thought that I had hit a roadblock was my blind spot. How could I have accepted defeat so easily? Doesn't this happen with most of us? We easily give in to the most convenient option that suits our conscience. How do we not realize that the sweet comfort we use as a shield to seek refuge under is in turn the enemy here. It does not take any effort to hold your weaknesses, but that should not be opted as an excuse for any lack of determination on our parts. What takes courage is to pick up on your strengths and harness them in order to suit the need of the hour. It is one thing to surrender to your weaknesses, but not recognizing and tapping on your strengths can be catastrophic. Yes, it might break you down in the process, but you ought to be open to try. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that Thomas Edison was once told by his teachers that he was too stupid to learn anything? But the rest, as we all know, is history. We are all good at something, believe it or not. It is often our blind spot for our strengths that keeps us from finding joy in what we do. Remember, being blindsided by your weaknesses is not as much a loss as being oblivious to your strengths is. Thank you.